All right, everyone, class is about to start. Take your seats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to UGC 101, the podcast about all things user-generated content.
Welcome to another episode of the UGC 101 podcast. Today, I know we always say that's a special treat. Today is an extra special treat because this is something I'm super interested in learning. And that is talking about the brand side. Okay. I talked to a lot of creators on this podcast, and today we are going to hear from the other side of the fence, so to speak. So we got Kai Green with the UGC Growth Lab. Kai, do you want to introduce yourself and kind of give us your background?
Hi, I'm Kai. I'm one half of UGC Growth Lab. I work with my partner, Lindsay, on helping creators kind of see the brand side of things, right? I think we often, well, let me tell you about our background. We come from a performance marketing agency background. And what does that mean? That those are a bunch of people who sell ads. And so we were the people who were out looking for creators. We were the people who were onboarding creators. We were the people who were reviewing creators for our network and then ultimately matching them with brands for campaigns. So we saw a lot of creators. We saw so many profiles every week. And every week we would say, I wish they would do this a little differently. Like, I wish they knew what the brand was thinking because I know that the brand might not go for them. And so now we get to help creators with that. And so we get to help creators scale their businesses, think about things from a brand perspective, and really just give them the brand intelligence they need to sustain their business, to grow it, and just to make the right kind of content and the right kind of decisions.
That's amazing. So you've been on the brand side for a long time then, it sounds like.
Yes. So between the two of us, we have about 10 years worth of brand experience. So we have a really good idea of what brands are looking for, what they want to see. And I'm very excited. Now, I was just saying that I'm so excited, and Lindsay's so excited that we finally get to share that side of things with people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I think from the creator side, I know we mentioned this a little bit before hopping on, and like it seems so mysterious, and like a lot of new creators, like I help a lot of new creators start to get on like platforms like Fiverr and things. One of the first questions I always get is like, hey, this is for brand A, B, and C, but it's like their domain says this. Like, should I be worried? I'm like, guys, and I have to like almost explain an agency and like what an agency is, right? Yes. It's like 90% of the time you're working with an intermediary, right? Like Adidas isn't gonna like slide in your DMs, guys. Like, right. Like, and so explain that. Like, I would love to kind of, and I don't know how deep I can go or whatever, but I would love to learn, like, how does that work from an agency side? Can you walk me through that process of like a brand reaches out to you guys, you're obviously trying to land the brand first, and then from there, how does that work?
Yeah. So typically what will happen is we have a sales part of the agency, right? They go out, they contact the brands. We tell the brands, here's what we can do for you. We'll give you our, whole spiel. We'll give you the performance data that we have. And we'll say, and we can kind of make this really easy for you. That way, you as Adidas or whoever, you don't have to go out and find the person yourself. You don't have to go and like negotiate these deals yourself. Like, we do all of that. We give you the creatives, you run it and succeed and do great.
Yeah.
So our part of it was to go out and then kind of keep that creator engine running, right? So it was like, all right, we know that we have this brand now. We're going to need skincare creators. We're going to need beauty creators. We're going to need all different kinds of creators for this brand and for this portfolio of brands. So we were seeing people in all kinds of niches all the time. And we also had people kind of coming to us and saying like, hey, like, I'd like to work with you on your brands and things like that. So it was a little train that kind of that worked. And that was kind of our part of it. So the creators would oftentimes be like, who are you? Like, say like exactly what you're saying. Like, who are you? You're not Farmer's Dog. No, we're not. But I mean, I thought it was always great because with us, it was like, you're not just doing one company, we're doing a couple of companies, or you might, so depending on how your relationship worked with us, how well your campaigns did, then we would have other brands of campaigns for you. So I always thought that was nice.
Yeah. And it sounds like you do all sorts of industry. Like, I know every agency is different, right? But the agencies that you've been a part of, you guys were kind of industry agnostic. You would do all sorts of different niches.
Yes. So, I mean, and that's the thing. I think Yeah, and I think what you're saying is correct. There's like a lot of different kinds of performance marketing agencies. They may call themselves something else. And so it really just, um, what I would suggest for creators then is just to make sure that you kind of research this agency and like see who they work with, because that kind of stuff is available. Because, you know, they have their own website that works for the brands that they want, they drive the brands to. So, that's all. I mean, I'm done with that.
How often, did you guys have people like creators coming to you? Because I mean, I know especially now UGC is blowing up, right? Yeah. I mean, relatively, I think it's still very, very new, and a lot of brands don't even know what it is, which is great for me and you, right? But how often did you have creators almost like trying to vet you as an agency, or like did you have a lot of creators that were like super skeptical about the whole process?
With us, we did a lot of whitelisting, so I think a lot of people weren't really sure what that was. So there was a lot of creator education that went in there. But we had a lot of people kind of not being, it was very interesting because I think a lot of people weren't quite sure what we were doing, but they wanted to be in on it anyway. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, we had people coming to us every week, and we would sit there every week going through these profiles, going through these portfolios, and saying, like, how can we fit this person in? Is this person a good match for our portfolio? And just kind of vetting them. And I think that's kind of given us a really good understanding of what's out there in terms of creators, like what they're doing, and the ways that we can help them to make them better.
Yeah. Do you guys run with the same? How often are you swapping out creators? Like, you probably have a roster like most people do, right? Are you constantly swapping in and out? Are you constantly testing new things?
Well, yes. So we've left them. So we're on our own now. But when we were doing that work, we tested things a lot. And I think I've heard you say, there's like brands, there's a lot of like creative fatigue that happens, right? Like a marketing campaign is not going to run all year most of the time. Sometimes it does. And so we were always testing something. It was always working really quickly to get these campaigns out and up and running so they could get results and then test back against that. And we always had a roster that was ever expanding. And so we were always offering new people. We were always kind of seeing where new people could come in and like make their bones with us. And so we always were looking for new people. We were always kind of turning over things, trying new things. I think this industry is one of the industries I think that is just very velocity driven.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that creators should know. I think that creators may not realize that people in our position didn't have, hours and hours to like look through all the pictures on your profile, like hours and hours to like watch every single video that you have, like we were moving very quickly all the time. And I think that's one of the things that creators can think about when they're kind of putting together their portfolio, when they're kind of building their profile. It's just in, out.
Yeah.
And so we actually have a thing in our minds called like the 30-second brand test, where it's like, if I'm looking for a skincare creator, for example, and I come to your portfolio, like I want to know really quick, like, can you do the work that we need you to do? Like, can I trust that you're going to deliver the results I want you to deliver? And also just even little things like, where are you? Right? Like, location. I think some people are like, well, it doesn't really matter where I am. I don't want to give that personal information. It's like, great. But like, if I need a campaign done by next week, am I going to be able to ship this to you in time? Are you going to be able to get it and make the content? How can I contact you? Like, we believe in the lowest possible barrier to entry, right? Like, you want to give them. I
love that. I'm like a huge proponent for that. I literally was talking to somebody about that today, actually.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing. You really want to just give them every reason to say yes to you before they even reach out to you. So I think that really helps. And a lot of creators aren't doing that, in fact. We used to really struggle. We'd be like, what is their email address? Like, I can't message.
Like, not on their portfolio.
No. And it's like, where it's like, I can't message you on TikTok. Like, are you on vacation? Are you not on vacation? Like, we had so many questions so often, and we wish that, and they're like little things, right? Just little things like put an email address, like little things like, are you actually looking for work now? I don't know if I
don't know if you're too busy. I want to ask about the portfolio. I don't even freaking look at mine. It's so bad. I need an audit. Like, we're talking about that later. I'm going to get one from you. like how quickly, because I feel like too many, I hate this term too, coaches, right? UGC coaches talk about like your portfolio, you need to make this amazing portfolio. Like how much does a portfolio matter that much to an agent? Like it matters to have one, but like where do your eyes, are you scrolling directly past all the fluff right to the videos and starting to watch?
Well, it depends on what the fluff is, right? Like if you're telling me like you have performance data that I need to see, like, oh, there was a really high click-through rate on your videos. There's a really high ROAS, which I know you love these like industry words, right? But that's what they're looking for. They're looking for your knowledge of these industry words, your knowledge of what they need so that you can, give them what you need, give them what they need.
Yeah.
So we kind of take a look at everything, but we do it very quickly. Like we're like, okay, is there hard data here that we're looking at? And then also I think that a lot of creators think that a portfolio is about range, right? They're like, oh, well, I have these, dog food
sections.
Yeah. Like I have, like, here's my beauty content. Here's my skincare content. And it's like, that's great. But what we would really like to see is the type of, content that you make, right? So like where are your hooks, right? What do your hooks sound like? What do your CTAs, your call to actions look like? What do your unboxings look like? Because what you're really doing is not range, you're doing relevance. Like, so you want to, so if a campaign person, if a brand person is kind of looking at your profile, they're like, I know we're already talking about this campaign. We want them to be like, do a man on the street thing. We already kind of have those inklings of where we want this to go. If it's a lot easier when I see that you have already done this. It's a lot easier when I can see that you've done this, or I can trust that you can do this. One of the things that we used to find very often was that creators would often use trending sounds or music without speaking to the camera, which is always a thing for us. So testimonial footage is always really important. For us, that was like the number one things. I had a brand one time come back to us several times, and this is a woman who owned a spa. She was like very qualified to do the campaign for them, but they were like, well, she's not saying anything.
The whole thing's just like music.
Yes.
With no voice.
Yes. And she's like, and they're like, well, can we see her speaking? Like, can we get some footage of her speaking? And it was like that, I guess granular is the word, right? Like they get really detailed about it. Like they're spending a lot of money a lot of times on this. Like they really want to make sure that they're not gambling. And so anything that a creator can do to make sure that they feel comfortable and like they can trust them is good.
Yeah. I think TikTok Shop is really kind of like cheapened UGC, I feel like, because it's a form of, like, by definition, TikTok Shop is a form of user generated content, right? Like it's someone generating content. But I think the whole, like you're talking about, like trending sounds, I think the other thing I get a lot of, especially like when people send their Fiverr videos to me, hey, well, like, what do you think about this for my first video? And a lot of it's like aesthetic of like the same shot and then like a very, very like peaceful like voiceover, right? And I'm like, that's cool if you're like doing like day in the life of, and you're an influencer. But like no brand is going to use that because I need to see you facing the camera.
Yes.
Like when in doubt, if no directions given.
Yeah,
I've got a formula. I've got face the camera, end on camera, fill the middle. That's like my motto. Right? If no one gives me any direction, I'm facing the camera to start for the hook. I'm facing the camera for the CTA, and I'm filling the middle with all the other shots. Right?
Yes.
And then you can do voiceover in the middle, but like, it's very, maybe it's because it's harder. It's outside of your comfort zone to look into a camera.
It is. It's very hard.
Have you ever heard of this thing? Like it's awkward. Like we're all awkward. And so I think there's a little bit, it's just a safety mechanism, right? It's like, hey, well, I'll do a voiceover because then I'm not talking to the camera and I have to look at myself on camera.
No, and I think that's the thing. I think there are certain cheats that creators use, right? Like, oh, if I just like talk about it and I'm not on camera, like that's fine. It's easier to do. I can come and do it later. But there is, for what we used to do, actually, there is a big appetite for somebody speaking to camera. Like you are selling the thing. And also too, it's just important. We'll probably talk about this a little bit more later too, but also too, it's like, your content may be beautiful, your content may be great, may be beautiful, but that's not what brands are looking for, right? Like they are looking for conversions. They're looking for somebody to sell their thing. right? They're
Yeah.
looking for somebody who makes other people feel comfortable with their product, who shows other
Authentic.
people. Yes. And
Yeah.
it's,
Relatable.
and that's why sometimes, I think one of our social ads is like one of our social posts is like the ugly ad sometimes works. And that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason it works, it works because somebody's actually being compelling on screen. Somebody's actually talking to you and they're kind of driving that urge that people have to go on and click through to the brand
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. They're not. Yeah. And it's not like, I mean, that's the whole point of at least the brands. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't do a lot of like, and if you're a brand that's worth to me, you're sexy in my mind, but I don't do a lot of big sexy brands. Like, you know what I'm saying? I do a lot of like, I did a video not too long ago about how, hey, Uncle Todd septic pods, like this is like my bread and butter. This is 80% of what I do is like brands like this that you've never heard of.
Yes.
But you're going to use our product. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like so important because it's like, yeah, I understand this like fine line of wanting to be a content creator. It's the new buzzword, and also wanting to be an influencer, but like a content creator doesn't always mean like really cool, like really like aesthetically pleasing content. Right.
And I think a lot of people, kind of, when they think of being a content creator, they kind of gravitate toward like, oh, I'm going to do all of this makeup stuff. Like I'm going to do all this really cool, like clothing stuff. And yeah, you can do that. But there are also other brands like septic companies. There's also other brands like, who did we work with? We had adult brief companies. We had like all of these other companies who are really looking for people. And it's like, that's kind of where your bread and butter can be, right? Like, don't, I guess it's the blue ocean strategy, right? Where it's like, everybody's kind of over here, but if you're tackling other things, like that can often be like lucrative for you. And also, I mean, and that kind of gets into the idea of niche a little bit, I think, where it's like, we used to onboard creators. I would have a call with them. I would talk to them about like what our thing even was, who we are. And I loved doing those calls because a lot of times people would actually, they're kind of, on their portfolio or something, they say, oh, I'm a beauty creator. I do like lifestyle. And it's like during those calls, I would actually find out about them. And I'd be like, wow, you're a nurse. Do you know how many health companies are looking for the authority of a nurse to do their content, and I think it was great because often it helped us find places for them that they might not have thought of right away. And it's because they weren't looking for those sexy brands, right? Like it just wasn't even a thing in their head. So that was one of my favorite things, was to just kind of fish and do a little bit of like thinking and like looking and about, what they were really about, so I could give them like that unique positioning that they may not have had.
Yeah, it's the USPs, right?
Yeah.
And I think that people, if you don't know that USP is unique selling point, right? You hear that a lot within UGC and marketing. And this podcast,
really,
there's this podcast listeners, there's people that don't know UGC as all the way to like people doing way better than me doing this. But I always like to talk about that within my community too, is like, guys, I don't care what you look like. Like it doesn't matter your age, right? Like you got to find whatever's cool about you and unique about you, right? Or not even cool, I guess is the right word. Whatever's unique about you, because what you think is not cool, someone else might think is cool. And it's super interesting to me how many times an agency's reached out to me, and we've done the whole negotiation thing. We get to the part where I get the brief finally, and then they'll leave the little line that says like creator, like what they're looking for. And it's like 90% of the battle was just me looking like me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was
bald, bearded, tattooed. I'm like, oh, cool. So like, I was already 90% of the way there. They just need to make sure my content was like passable. Right. So like putting yourself out there it's not that scary when just you being you've already done majority of the work,
No, and I think that that's very, very right, because one of the first things I thought when I saw you, Lindsay and I were talking, and we were like, wow, man, like he has got the beard, he's got the bald head, like we were like, oh, he would have been so great for so many brands. And that's exactly it. If I'm looking for somebody with a beard, I'm looking for somebody with a beard. If you've got a beard, I'm looking at you. Like I want to see what you're doing. I want to and I think that it would help everyone to kind of think about what those unique points are about them, and I think, but also I think sometimes people just don't know, as I think that's one of those things where it's like, oh, I like clothes. I want to do clothing. And it's like, yeah, but like you've got this other thing that's like so cool.
And sometimes I don't even think about like where, sorry to cut you off, so, like not even just like physical looks. Like for one thing I put in my portfolio was like, hey, I live in Utah.
Yeah.
I'm not outdoorsy, but you bet your ass I'm going to look outdoorsy if you need me to do a backpack video. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
And now I do a crazy amount of outdoors brands.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like turned me outdoorsy now. It's like I have all this equipment. I do a cold plunge once a month here in Utah at like a river with a bunch of my buddies. Wow. And like every time I'm showing up with like new gear and they're like, dude, who are you? I've got this like 18 thing multi-tool. I'm like, you guys need me to cut something? You know, it's too funny. But it's like, you know, that's not something physically about me. I just happen to live in a place that has that, right? If you live by a beach, put that on there. If you have, like you mentioned, animals, right? I've got a friend that has horses that lives in Washington. I'm like, dude, there's a horse UGC market out there somewhere, you know?
And, you know, and a lot of times, like I said, people won't put that on their profile. But like sometimes like that's exactly what we need. Like we worked with a company who sold, I think, beach umbrella type things. And we were like, okay, well, which of our creators in our network live near a beach? Like we had to do idea. Yeah, we had to like do some digging and find out who lives where. Like, can you get to water quickly? So those kinds of things are super helpful. And especially for parents. I see so many mom creators who are like, I'm doing mom UGC. And it's like, that's great. How old are your children? Are they even going to be on camera? We had a lot of creators who were like, I'm doing content, but I don't want the kids to be in it. Well, understand, I want my sisters like that. I don't want my kids to be in content. I'm not going to take a picture of them. But if you're open to that, then let us know. And like how old they are, like, or their age range. Because again, like we work with a bike company and it was like, well, we need kids between 4 and 7 and kids between like 10 and 13. And that was always a challenge to do because it was like, well, your kid looks 5, but like I can't tell. So again, and that goes back to like lowest barrier to entry. And yeah, I mean, definitely go through your life and think about the things that you do, like the interests that you have. Because there is a brand looking for you.
I want to go back to the portfolio conversation. You mentioned, so again, this is my curiosity, and if I have this question, I'm sure other people do. So you mentioned not having a ton of, like, you didn't mention this, but you said like a ton of videos, right? Like how many videos is too many? A, that's my first question. B, you mentioned like, hey, we want to see if you can do street interviews. We want to see if you can do talking head. We want to see if you can do whatever. Is it smart to categorize? I see most people do by niche, right? Yeah, here's my makeup. Here's my outdoor.
Yes.
Is it smart to do like categorize by type of video?
I mean, I think the answer depends, right? Like if you are somebody who's like, I really am proud of the fact that I can light skincare really well.
Yeah.
For sure. Show me your skincare like reels, right? Like if you're saying my niche is skincare, I only want to do skincare. Show me as many skincare reels as you want to show me, right?
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who's like, listen, I do a little bit of everything, okay. We don't recommend that, but we can get into that later. But if you're doing a little bit of everything, it's like, okay. So you're doing a food brand, for example, you're doing a fashion brand. If you're doing a number of niches like that, then it kind of makes more sense to kind of do like, here's my unboxings, here's my ASMR, here's my, testimonial footage. Like that's when it makes more sense to do it that way. And I think it's different for every creator. Like, and one of the things that we also recommend is just, taking a step back and being like, what kind of creator am I? Like, what is my business supposed to look like? What do I want out of this? And I think a lot of creators don't do that. I think a lot of creators get caught up in like, I'm making the stuff. Like, I'm getting the stuff, I'm making the stuff, I'm sending it out. I'm making the stuff, I'm sending it out, I'm making the stuff, sending it out. And it's like, when you take a step back and kind of think about your goals with your business, then that stuff starts to make sense.
Yeah.
A little bit more sense.
That's great advice. That's great advice. So what was first question was how many videos is too many videos?
Yes.
No, you gotta get.
Again, so nobody's going to sit through like 10 unboxing videos, right? So I would say give like maybe 3 to 5 is enough. Like you don't have to get crazy with it. You don't have to show after you make a reel, you don't have to add it to your portfolio. We want to see your best stuff. We want to see your best stuff that's going to give people an idea of what you can do. not necessarily every single thing you've ever made in your life.
Okay. That's good. That's good advice. I want to get into your, so working, like what you're already saying about being low, you didn't say this, but being low maintenance, right? Removing all the barrier of entries.
Yes.
Barriers to entry. Mm-hmm. So can you give some practical advice of what that means for creators, right? Again, keeping in mind that there are some people listening to this that are like brand spanking new. Yeah. Maybe they're getting their first email this week from an agency. How do you be low maintenance? How do you remove those barriers to entry besides those tips you've already given?
Yeah, so I think that communication goes a long way, right? I sent an email one time to a creator and I was like, this brand would like to work with you. Here's the brand, here's the information. And the email I got was, what? That was the entire email.
No.
That was the entire email. And so it's like, make it easy for people to talk to you. Make it easy for people to I
hope they just hit send on accident. That's wild.
It didn't. I mean, I don't know that it improved much from there, but make it easy for people to talk to you. Make it easy. And I know that you recommend this where it's like, get it to us right away, right? Like get it to people right away as soon as you can get it done. We talk to creators sometimes who are like, oh, I'm going out of town. I can't make it back. And like, that was sometimes okay. That's not a problem. But when they're like, I don't know if I can do it within a week, it's like, well, like give us something to work with here, Yeah,
if you can't do one video in a week, that's wild. Like, what's the standard? 5 days is pretty good. Like if you're standard 5 days, 3 days.
Yeah, our standard was 5. We liked sometimes quicker 3. And actually we met some resistance about 3 too sometimes. So I think that creators, again, just don't realize the velocity involved. So it's like the quicker you can send it in, great. And also too, to make it, it's not even that creators are like expected to be low maintenance. Is it that they expect to like, is your content going to look like your content does on your portfolio? A lot of times creators would turn in stuff and we'd be like, well, this is a little bit different than your portfolio. And that might just be that they were in a rush that week or for whatever reason. So it's like, if a brand is trusting you with their content, make sure that you're fulfilling that promise. Make sure you're making it easy for them to contact you. Make sure you're responding quickly. Don't leave them on a read for days. And again, just like that, before they even offer you the campaign, just again, like giving them like all the reasons to say yes. Like, can you do unboxings really well? Can you do testimonials really well? Do you look believable when you do testimonials? How do I contact you? Where are you? All of these little things. And it's just, I think overall, it's really just being present. Like that sounds like a weird thing, I think, but it's like, I'm doing this campaign. I've committed to doing this campaign. I'm going to do it great. I'm going to do it on time. I'm going to be really cool when you get back to me and you're like, now the brand wants to see something different that they didn't ask for before. Like, and how you kind of handle those things is what makes you not even low maintenance, but it just makes you a good partner. And I think that that's the important thing. And there's a conversation to be had about how many revisions you offer, et cetera, but always kind of coming at it where it's like you're offering the solution as opposed to the problem, right? As opposed to, you saying, oh, well, like I've already done 2 revisions, like I can't possibly do any more. It's like, well, do you want to talk about, I can do another piece for X amount, like kind of just negotiating and being a good partner.
Yeah. Like, well, especially I think a lot of these new creators, and I've been guilty of this before too, where there's been weeks where I've got like 13 projects on top of my full-time job, on top of my kids, on top of my wife, like I'm mowing my lawn now in the summer. I'm like, dude. And so I understand getting overwhelmed, but like putting and like, they ask for a second revision, but I think a lot of creators don't realize that, like, especially with agencies, like these are long-term partners, like you said, that you could work with 18, 20 more times if you play your cards right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And one of the things, so we have a free guide that's, 25 things that brands don't want you to know, right? And in that guide, we say to you, agencies can blacklist creators. And I've seen it happen. If you're working with an agency and, for example, your content is underwhelming compared to what was on your profile, compared to what was on your portfolio, like then it's kind of like, like this person, we could go with them, but here's another creator who gets back to us right away, who does the work that they say they're going to do, who turns in more than we ask for. Like that's the person we're going to use. Yeah. And it's very important to stay aware of like the fact of how that's going to affect you if you are, you know, or if you're late on your work and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's just important to kind of stay aware of their perception of you as a partner.
Yeah. When you say blacklist, explain that. I understand what it is.
I mean, and it's, I mean, super simple for us. It was just like, we are not going to use this creator. Like we're like, you know, even if this person is the perfect person for this campaign, it's like,
sorry.
Yeah. It's like perfect. If it wasn't for, like my daughter says, it would be perfect if all of these other things were different, right? Like you're, even if your content is gorgeous, it's like, well, you know, there's always friction here when we're trying to ask for this, and you know, they're not really receptive to like ideas. So I think it's just important. I mean, brand people are just like people, right? Like, so they are people, but brand people are people too. And it's like, you know, you like to work with people who are nice to work with. And that's the same. That's the case for agencies and brands and everyone. You know, everybody wants to work with somebody who's pleasant to work with, pleasant to speak to, does what they say they're going to do, etc.
Yeah. Do you, so everyone knows everyone in this space, I feel like. Has that ever happened where like a creator, you've like reached out to another agency, like, hey, have you heard about this person? Are they good to work with? Like does work get around when someone's crappy?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, not for us. I mean, we were kind of so busy with our own stuff that I don't think that we of, you know, thought to even like, hey, whatever. I think when that happened, it was good. We worked with a brand who kind of had their own creators, and they recommended them to us for the work we were doing. Cool. And that was because they were great. And they were like, oh, you know, why don't you give this person a call? That kind of thing. So as far as I'm aware, everybody tries to stay, you know, what's the term, above the line.
Above the cutoff line.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What are some things that creators can do, especially new, like let's say first time working with you guys, that really stand out? So, right. Besides obvious things like you've already talked about, like, oh yeah, responding quickly. Like I'm actually shocked at how long it takes some people to respond.
Yeah.
Even in my community, I'll get messages like, hey, is this a scam? And I'm like, well, they sent that 2 days ago. So even if it isn't, like, see you later, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. For us, I mean, I think what we are really wanting to see is just that you can, I mean, it's really very simple, right? It's simple. And I feel like I've said this now a few times. It's like, we really just want to see on the brand side, they really want to see that you are going to deliver for them. And it's really about, and then, so, you know, I think a lot of creators spend a lot of time on like how things look and how like their lighting is. My lighting is always terrible. This is the best lighting I'll ever have in my life. And so, but like that kind of stuff comes secondary to the fact that you can convert, like and also too, the fact that you understand what I'm talking about when I say ROAS or CPA or CTR, like in all of these language things that are not native to people, right? Like nobody's like, well, you know, my ROAS when I went out, you know, like nobody is doing that. But understanding where the brand is coming from really goes a long way. And I think that's one of the things that we really stress in our stuff, is just that, you know, you've got to stop thinking like a content creator and start thinking like a marketer. Like stop thinking of yourself as a content creator, start thinking of yourself as a business owner. And that mindset shift kind of informs everything else. And you can kind of return to that when you're asking yourself questions about how you're pitching or what your portfolio looks like. Really just putting yourself in the brain shoes.
Want to change gears a little bit. What do you think? How do you think the UGC space has changed in the last 2 to 3 years? Now, this is coming. I'm asking the questions coming from someone who's only been in this 18 months, so mostly for my curiosity.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, before we kind of launched UGC Growth Lab, I think the thing that we were mostly seeing, I mean, the thing that I felt like, I guess the pain point for me at that point was like a shift to people who were speaking straight to camera. Like that was like the big thing. Like that was like kind of a ongoing thing where it was like, okay, like the voiceover is not really cutting it anymore. People really want that straight to camera experience. And then also too, we started to see a shift toward professionals, right? So if it was a person, if this was a tech product, somebody working in the tech field, if this was a food product, somebody who worked in the food arena somewhere. And so that's kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, where it's like when you're deciding like what you want to do and what kind of content you want to create, it's like, all right, you might have a day job you want to have nothing to do with at the end of the day, right? Like you might have a day job where you're like, that's not what I want to do. But it can be your entry into content creation because somebody might need that. Like if you're a plumber and that's your day job, there are brands that are looking for you. This is, kind of what we were saying before. Like there are people looking for you. So anywhere that you can kind of establish yourself as a bit of an expert or as somebody who has experience with this, right? Like somebody with 5 kids, great. Great for like parenting stuff, for like homes, So anywhere that you can establish yourself as a bit of an authority or outlier is probably the best thing. I think Lindsay would like to talk very, very much about AI and how that's affecting the creator economy. I think that that's going to be a really big change, but not necessarily a negative change going forward. So those would probably be the things that are kind of becoming issues as we move forward and becoming just kind of thought about and talked about.
Yeah, the last week VO3 came out. I'm sure you've seen videos. Google. Yeah. And it's actually crazy. My wife's literally sent me a video today, and she said, "Do you think your gig's gonna slow down?" As like some girl in a parking lot, looking like she was at a car dealership, UGC style. I mean, you can still tell like slightly, but I think anyone that doesn't look close enough, like I for sure, there's a lot of people that are gonna get some completely duped, which is wild.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I think that's going to affect. I mean, my view is that it's going to affect a lot of things in the future. And this may be one of the things. And actually, one of our social media posts the other day, it might have been yesterday, was about Lindsay using an AI voice that was produced by 11 Labs and saying, like, can you tell which one is me? Can you tell which one is not me? And I know her. And it was not easy. It was not as easy as I would have thought. I think you can still definitely tell that there's differences.
Yeah.
Well, our position is that people can use AI as a tool. They can use they can use it to make things easier for their own business. And I think that people are still going to want people, like, right? Like the UGC field is about authenticity. It's about regular people as opposed to models and actors using things. I don't think that's going to go away, but I do think that we believe that AI can be used as a tool, but also you don't want to be taken by surprise, right? Like you want to learn about these things. You don't want to get scared. You don't want to get scared or think that like you're not going to be able to do it anymore. Learning about these things and learning how you can make it work for you is really important. I think, and I know that that's something that Lindsay is particularly excited about.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, I think even like, a lot of the one thing all these AI videos in the last week that I've seen, so many of them all have in common is like none of them have an actual, like it's one thing replicating a person and replicating the background, but like replicating a product, right, with a logo, really, really tough, I think, to make it look like real, and because then you get into like, okay, well, that's a frying, like I did a frying pan video this week, so that's why I'm saying this. That's a frying pan that like that for sure doesn't look like the one I bought, right? Because then they start to get into that whole thing. So I think we're still like, knock on wood, a while from that.
I mean, I think we're a while from it, but not. I mean, I think that it's moving a lot quicker than we thought it would move, right? Like I think, but I do think we have a while. But also too, we have a while, but certainly you want to be the first person to be like, okay, like how can I shift this? Like how can I make sure that I'm going to be okay? And we actually have a learning lab that's called AI in the Creator Economy for that reason, to help creators kind of wrap their heads around what's happening, and kind of prepare themselves, learn, or at least learn the lingo. I think a lot of people really don't even know what's out there in terms of AI. And I think it's important. I think it's interesting to know too. So.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of people in my community that I already know that would love to dive into something like that. Cause I get a lot of questions about AI and like, hey, how do you think it's done? I'm like, dude, I wish I had time to think about it. I also need someone who knows what they're talking about, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are still really early with AI where they're like, I can make like a cat, make a hamburger. Like I can make like these little cute videos. And it's a lot more than that. And I think, I'm always saying to my daughter, I'm like, you want to make sure that you're aware, you know what's coming, and you kind of prepare yourself for it. So I think that's one of the reasons that we did that learning lab. So.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely. I'm gonna drop the link in the notes, and we'll kind of mention some of the other cool things you guys have towards the end.
Yeah.
One of the kind of the wrap up questions. I've got a couple more actually.
Okay.
That I want to ask about is, and that I may be in the minority here. Usage rights. I'm like, I'm pretty sure everyone disagrees with me on this. This goes back to being, I started on Fiverr 18 months ago. I still do a lot through Fiverr. I think I've got a little bit of PTSD from Fiverr just trying to be low maintenance, right?
Yeah.
And because I've always been so low maintenance, I've always just done perpetual because on my head, like we talked about, I don't think that people are going to be using this ad 3 years from now, right? But I had an interview with Leon, who's in the UK, that was very eye-opening, and I'm like, I didn't even think about that, where he had a brand, one of his early videos popped off so crazy that now he has nobody in that niche that will work with him because they're like, oh, you're the ABC guy, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. So I want to get your take on usage rights. Is it annoying when creators are like, I charge monthly for the next 18 months? Like, or like, what would be your best advice for usage rights? I want to get an opinion of someone that's not a creator. Cause obviously we're out for us.
Yes.
Everyone's like, I charge $500 a month forever. Like everybody wants usage rights. I've always been a perpetual guy and I'll charge a little bit more and say, that includes perpetual. But again, I'm low maintenance. I'm probably undervaluing myself in a lot of ways. I want to get your take.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. I would say that, you recognize that if you give perpetual rights, you are pretty much, the brands love that, right? Like brands, they would love if everyone gave them perpetual rights for everything, because that is low barrier to entry, right? Like that's like very low maintenance. They pay you, you make the stuff and you move on with your life. However, it's important to remember that, again, this kind of goes back to the mindset shift, right? It's like you are running a business here.
Yeah.
You are saying, it's not even about like the percentage of time. So you're like, okay, maybe a brand is not going to run with this for more than 2 months. And like, okay, so give them usage for those 2 months. And if they go over, ask for X amount, per month. Or the issue is not even just usage in the time sense. It's also usage in location sense, right? So like, are they going to use this on their Meta ads? Are they going to then, after they're done using it in Meta, are they going to then use it in their emails? Are they going to use it on their homepage? Are they going to use it on TV? Like that's really rare, but that's also possible. And so you're leaving a lot of money on the table when you're not asking for usage. We kind of, and that was like one of the things that we used to say, like, we run for 2 months. I've rarely seen an ad go past 3 months. But then there would be like the outlying cases where it's like we saw like a pet food creator. They used her stuff forever. Like they used it forever. And I don't think, I'm not even sure. I don't know if she knew about it because they don't have to tell you, right? It's perpetual use. So, that's like a lot of money that she left on the table there because they use it for over a year. And then sometimes, if they're testing something, they might, use it for 2 months, leave it alone, come back the next year and try it again. And you don't know because you've given their perpetual rights. Yeah. And I think, we did work with creators where it was like, who are very like almost, I don't want to use the word militant, but I guess I am, where they were like, oh no, you're like, here, I will take this amount for 3 months. And then after that, like, I will come back to you. If you would like to continue using the content, like, I would like to be like reimbursed per month. And like, we definitely saw creators who knew where their ads were. Like in this particular case, they knew where we were running the ads. And they would come back and they'd be like, well, I see you're still running it. I see that you're still running it past 3-4 months, because they don't want to leave the money on the table. Now, if you're working with Adidas, for example, right? And you're like, whoa, Adidas is my dream company. I love them so much. You might be more willing to give them perpetual rights because you love Adidas. You don't care where they use it because this is an Adidas deal. So again, this goes back to what kind of creator are you? Are you somebody who's going to follow up and see if they're still using your stuff? Or are you, you're too busy, you're not even thinking about it? Or are you somebody who really wants to have that recurring passive income? Like, I think that's also another issue. Is like, you might charge less for a video if you can make up that on the back end, right? Like, like I'll do a video for $100, but then if you run it, if my usage fee is X amount, like, then I'm kind of just making that, and that's more content I don't have to make, right? Like, you get a bunch of packages every week. This is like one less package because now you're making that on the back end.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about, especially if you're doing this as your full-time gig and you're like, hey, I have to back into this number every month. And if I don't have, usage, I get a lot of agencies that won't even give me the option though. They'll just be like, hey, this brand only does perpetual, take it or leave it. And so I feel like, which I don't love. Like, I've been literally told that, and I'm like, I don't love how this is starting off already.
Right. No,
like,
you know what, though?
It's already combative,
No,
like
but I mean, it's not even combative though. Like, you're asking, right? Like, it's not. I think that's not. And like, I think that's something that's great for creators to know too. It's like, just ask. Like, just ask. And if the answer's no, the answer's no. Because there are some agencies that are like, we only do perpetual. Like, don't even mess with the system.
Yeah.
But
which I think in that case, would you, like, if you're an agency, like in your case, it wouldn't be weird then for them to say, okay, if you're all doing perpetual, then I charge X for perpetual on top of
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. And it's like, well, again, what kind of creator are you? Like, are you somebody who is wanting to set up your work? Because I think also too, it's like the hustler mentality, right? It's like, I know that I need to get like this many deals, like for like to move to hit my goal, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's content that's active money. That's like you have to go out and make the content. You have to film the video. You have to take the pictures. You have to do all of these things. Or do you want to kind of settle that a little bit and then, be like, okay, like these folks are paying me for usage. That's coming in. I don't have to go out and make another video for this. And so it just really depends on what kind of creator you are, and just thinking about it in a way where you're like, I am a business owner. How do I want my business to run?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to talk about, we talked about this before we hit record. I was getting into some of your guides. You mentioned the AI guide of like understanding AI. What other stuff do you guys have? I know that we talked about a little bit. I'm like, wait, I want to talk about this on the air. So talk about that, kind of what UGC Growth Lab is about. We've talked about kind of where you came from, but like, I would love to learn more about you guys, about your offerings.
Yeah. So we have 5 learning labs. Those are guides with a ton of extras, like rate builders and workbooks and planners and things. And we have 5 of them. The first is AI in the creator economy. We already talked about that one. One is the creator playbook, which is kind of tailored to new people, to kind of give them this structure to kind of set up their UGC business for success. And then the third one is demystifying paid media. So like I've said ROAS like 80 times during this period here. That's when you will learn what ROAS is. It is return on ad spend. And just the kind of jargon that is used in the industry. So when you go to pitch them, you can say, listen, here are my numbers. Like, I know what you're talking about. I know what you need. And so that lab is great for that. So there's blah, 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 blah. There is marketing psychology, which I think is really useful. That's really useful for people when you're kind of thinking of how you're going to put your content together, like the story you're telling, the marketing things that you're thinking in your mind as you kind of create your hook and you create your kind of your arc of like your content.
Yeah.
And then we also have, I'm getting out of order. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Whitelisting University, which I think there's a soft spot in my heart for whitelisting. And I think a lot of creators don't know what that is. And it's a great way for people who are like, I want to step outside my comfort zone. And if you don't know what whitelisting is, I can explain really quickly. It's when a brand uses your handle to run your content. So it'll look like it's coming from you on Facebook or whatever platform it is. But they've kind of put spend behind it to send it out to new people. So, and actually, we used to find that sometimes people had a bump in their followers from that. And it's like it's a cool way to do ads without having them clutter up your feed. So I love whitelisting. And I think have I done all 5 now?
Yeah, that's the 5th.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's sweet. And then you also do one last thing, because I want to use this myself. You do portfolio audits, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we have 2 audits. We have like kind of what we call our foundational audit, which is kind of like the quick and dirty. Like we go in, we take a look at, your brand positioning, what a brand, like that 30-second brand test I was talking about, what conclusions we would draw from that. And we give you kind of feedback on how you can improve that. How can you make your portfolio or your profile look better to brands? The signature audit goes a step further than that. And we kind of work on monetization, brand alignment, what brands you might want to like explore and work with.
Awesome.
And so it kind of takes you behind the scenes of what we used to do, which is like, look at this profile, and we spend more than 30 seconds on it. We look at this profile and we really do a deep dive into, here's what you're doing. Here's what brands see when you're like, here's what you're doing. Here's what brands are thinking when they see this. Here are the steps that you can take to improve the way that you look to brands. And I think that's really, and I think we see a lot of people doing like free profile audits. And what we are doing is sort of a departure from that, and that this is the kind of thing that we used to do every day. Like when we were going to match you with a brand, before we did that, we would kind of be like, all right, like, here are these 5 people. Do I want to recommend these 5 people for this campaign? And it would be like, yeah, I do. Like, that's when we'd be like, are they giving us what we need? And again, it's like, are they solving the problem that the brand is having? If the brand is like, we really want somebody to showcase these bikes and we want to show that kids can ride these bikes, it's important to see those kinds of things. So I think our audits are really cool. I mean, we used to do those every week. That's one of like the things that we do. We've done that so many times, and it helps people. It helps people, well, and it's one of those things where it's like, I wish I could have told everybody about it, and so now we're glad that we get to.
Well, I like it because I've heard of people, like there's obviously people in the space doing audits, but it's the only ones I know of are creators.
Yeah.
Like you're the only one from the brand side.
Yeah.
Who's like offering this, which I think is like, hey, you guys get like, the creators may know one thing of like what worked for them, but they may not necessarily know why it's working for them.
Yes. And
right. But like from your side, it's like, no, this is exactly what we look for.
Yeah.
Like your font doesn't need to be like that. This doesn't need to be whatever it is,
Yeah. And that's exactly it. It's like, I think a lot of people are guessing. A lot of creators are guessing and they're like, okay, this is what works for me. And it seems to be working.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. But we are really, people who have done this for a living. Like we know what works. We know what the brands want to see. And I think that gives people a peace of mind where it's like, they're not guessing anymore. And for me, I used to be a freelance writer before I did any of this. And it was always like, I guess it, okay, you seem to like it. I think it's working. And you can kind of read as much as you want to, and you can kind of be like, right, I think I have a hook, and I know that it's a good hook. Like, I think that's it. And it's like, sometimes it's like little things that you're not even seeing. It's little things that you don't even think about. And I think for new people, especially, who are kind of unsure, right? Like, they're unsure of what they should be putting in their portfolio. They're unsure of what brands are thinking when they see that. I think it's super helpful. And also too, I think sometimes it helps. I always used to say to Lindsay, like, I do not want to be the only pair of eyes on this. Like, I don't like,
Especially when it takes you so long to make them. Sometimes it's like, you're looking at the same thing forever. It's like, I need a second opinion. I need a third opinion,
It's like, you need a second opinion, and you also need to have, just a different take on like what you think that you are showing may not be what people are taking away from it. And I think I find a lot of creators kind of fall in love with their, like writers, they fall in love with their characters. They fall in love with like your content. You're like, oh, I look so gorgeous in this. Like, I really do it. Like, I'm like using this tool like really good. And it's like, yes, good job. But that may not be what needs to be seen by the brand.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Well, I know that you're awesome, and you are giving an offer for the listeners, right?
Yes.
So if you use a code, is that UGC 101? Is that what the code is?
Yes.
UGC 101, you'll get 25% off. I'm going to link to your guys' website in the show notes. So if any of these things that Kai's been talking about seem of interest to you, and you want to go kind of level up your UGC game, I know I'm going to go check these out immediately. Hit the link in the show notes. Use the code UGC 101, all one word, no spaces, right?
No spaces.
Okay, UGC 101, and that'll give you 25% off with Kai and her crew over at the UGC Growth Lab. So, Kai, I super appreciate it. I learned a ton. This has been super beneficial for me.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. I love talking to people. So anytime I have a chance to do that, I love it. So thanks so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, I'll catch you another time. And if you're listening, you guys subscribe, share this with your friends, anyone that's wanting to get into UGC, or just your other UGC creators that are already doing this. And I would super appreciate it. Thanks again, Kai. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you so much, Nate. Have a great day.